Excellent. Okay, hey, Happy New Year, everybody, and hope that your holidays were good and that you're already feeling like you've got some pipelines filling up for 2019 and that things are moving in the right direction even a week into the year. It's a tough time because people want to be chilling out or whatever, but as you are going to hear and as you all know, this is the time to really be getting your engine primed for the next few months. First quarter's already started, in other words. So today on our mastermind, and this is the MD-led mastermind that we do once a month, we've got Mr. Everett in the house on the Zoom call, and he is the MD in Grand Junction as well as the director of MDs for all of us, essentially. That's the best way to think of him. And so if you haven't had the chance to meet Keith Everett yet, consider yourself lucky and just keep doing whatever you're doing. But if you have met him, he's much better on a Zoom call than in person. So I think you're in for a real treat, just being able to watch him in a small square right now, which is how I think of him all the time. Just a big head in a small square. So anyway, Keith, I hope that's a decent enough introduction.
Love it.
Great. So Keith is going to talk to us today about listings. And so Mr. Everett, it's almost your show. Agents, this is a mastermind, a bunch of minds that need to be coming together. And it's not just the Keith show. It could be if no one says anything. He's got plenty of stuff, but please interject. Let's debate. Let's say that's not that. You're wrong there, sir. Let's have the conversations here because we're going to get better out there if we do them here. Okay?
I pick on people.
Now, Keith, it's your floor.
I pick on people, so you might as well pitch in. I am going to try to make you dizzy. I'm going to be going from sharing my screen to not sharing my screen when I ask questions to get live feedback. So I apologize for that if it does make you dizzy. I don't know if you guys have been listening to a lot of talk about social proof, about giving your clients validation that you're the person to work with them. I'm going to give you some social proof for me. I have been practicing real estate since 2003. #1 team on the west side of Denver for a little while, specialized in listings, loved listings, so I could play golf and ride my bicycles more. So listings is where it's at. Going into the next few years, we're really going to be struggling for new people that have not been in a regular market, going into a regular market. So it's just something that we're really going to be focusing on, and we're going to keep in front of you a lot, is listings. You will get 2 or 3 buyers from each one of your listings, or buyer leads. So the more listings you get, the less you have to prospect for buyers because they're going to come to you anyway. So I hope that you guys all appreciate the importance of listings. Now, if you're a buyer's agent out there, I think that almost every team lead that has a buyer's agent gives a referral fee for listings. So that means that you can still generate revenue on a team by getting listing leads as well. So before we start, Derek, which one of those Steve Harney pieces would you like me to share first?
Well, I think the video, just because he's so much fun to listen to. You could probably play it like 7 or 8 times because it's only a minute long, and we were just like, oh, cool, every time. So I think the video is a great way to start.
All right, let me get that pulled up.
As he's pulling that up, Steve Harney, of course, is the guru the oracle, that we had on, Tom Ferry had on a couple of weeks ago. He's the CEO of Keeping Current Matters, and I've been in this business now for about 4 or 5 years, and his stuff is the best stuff, I think, about markets and about what's happening. So Steve Harney knows his thing. So here we go.
Let's make this as simple as possible. The agents who dominate the listing market in the first quarter of 2019 will dominate the real estate business for the entire year of 2019. To that regard, KCM has asked me to do a joint webinar with them next Thursday, January 10th. The title, Kickoff 2019 as a Listing Machine. tactics, strategies, how to overcome objections, everything you need to become that listing machine. And again, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to fall victim to what's taking place in the market right now, and instead you're one of the heroes, jump on that webinar. The first comment right underneath this video will give you a link directly to the registration page. It's important for you and for the industry. Just saying. Let's make this as simple as possible.
Like that. Just saying.
Just saying. So I will make sure that everybody gets that link by probably tomorrow, but Thursday morning for sure. He operates on Eastern time, so I'm not sure what time it is, but everybody will have that link, okay? So I'll get that to you. I really advise you to be on that webinar.
Okay, so I'm going to just jump into it. Go ahead and share my screen again. I like to do presentations like this so I can keep track of where I'm supposed to be. Anybody that wants this slide deck is welcome to it afterwards. But ideas. This is to get all of us talking. This is to create conversation. I could talk about this stuff for 3 days, and you guys would probably find me and shoot me. So I want your participation. But how to get lucky with listings. This is so true. This has been copied by a ton of people. If you go back, this is the first source of this quote. I am a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. So don't think that there's a magic bullet in here that's going to have listings pouring into your lead generation system, into your funnel. You still have to do the work. That's one thing that I can't emphasize enough. You work hard, you're going to be super successful. But if there is one source that is the most important source, where we get 65, 70% of our business from, if we're keeping in touch with our sphere of influence and past clients properly, this is one of the best sources for listings there it can be. I see a few people on here that I will pick out if you don't talk to us that are really good at generating listings from their sphere of influence. Number one, we know that we need to stay in constant contact with them. So we've heard that, the Brian Buffini says you need to be in touch with your guys 24 times a year. NAR says 28 times. Gary Keller says 33 times. Tony DeCello says 36 times. Tom Ferry says 40 times. Just need to be in front of them, multimodal, send them an email, send them a text, give them a call, have a party, take them to coffee. What are some best practices you guys are having to stay in front of your sphere of influence? And, I think Christy Reese and Kelly Maves both had a party at a theater where they booked the whole theater for a premiere of a movie. Getting in front of these guys is really important. And I'm going to hold off on a question real quick. We've got to think also about the Gary Vaynerchuk idea of the jab, 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 right hook. The analogy of setting up a boxer for a knockout in real estate is give them something of value, give them something of value, give them something of value, ask for the business. Tom Ferry's dad was a numbers guy. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days? Nope, click. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days? And that time's gone. We need to develop relationships. We need to show value before we can have the ask. So somebody pipe in with some things that you're doing to add value in the jab, 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 right hook mentality so you get the permission to ask for a referral. Come on, guys. Don't make me pick on people.
Hello, can you hear me?
We have 4 people across the bottom, and Keenan, you're one of them. So,
Can you hear me?
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I've liked doing recently is like bomb, so like video emails, but for birthdays. So say a little something on their birthday, just, hey, happy birthday to you. You were an awesome client, and would love to catch up soon and celebrate and all that. That's just a good, more personal way of reaching out to someone on their birthday than a Facebook message or a text or anything like that. So that's been a cool little thing I've been doing.
Very nice. Thank you. That bomb, or even if you don't want to pay for a really slick service like bomb, and it's very slick, you can just do a video text off your phone. Just pull their name up on it like you're going to send them a text, hit an attachment, hit camera, hit record, do it, bam, send, gone. Thanks, Keenan. Now, we have somebody that almost tripled their business this year and went up into the top 12%, I believe, of her board of realtors, and Kimberly Kettle. What do you do to stay in contact with your sphere of influence so you can get that ask?
That's an area that I feel I need to work on this year, but I call, coffee. I do that like American Lifestyle magazine. My past clients get hit every other month with that. They love it. And so I'm looking for some more consistency, but I just try and reach out to a handful a day. Newsletters, I'm going to start doing newsletters on a consistent basis. And yeah.
Awesome.
Just do more, but I just keep reaching out. It's just not consistent enough, I don't feel.
Okay. Well, and that's the challenge that we all have. That's why we need to automate our lead generation as much as we can with our past clients and sphere of influence, and have it on our calendar every day and knock it out. So what can you say once you get in the conversation with these guys? What are we looking for? Looking for listings. So I'll tell you one quick, just a nuance of language that you can use that will make it easier for a lot of us, especially those of us that feel icky about asking for business from our friends. So, hey, Keenan, it's Keith. Hey, I've got really big goals this year. I want to help 36 people buy or sell a home. Who do you know that I can help sell their home? Another way to get the conversation started is just talk about the constriction of inventory. Man, we got buyers all over the place and we don't have enough listings for them. Do you know anybody who I can help sell their home? I know we can sell it fast. So start those conversations. Don't make it about helping, not about you getting a paycheck. Make it about helping somebody else. Can anybody else have anything to add with their sphere of influence and past clients? Thank you.
And just like you said, automation-wise, I mean, the IQ Office campaigns that we have set up are actually really good. The newsletter each time, once a month, and then also the market report. I mean, I've had clients all the time say that's really cool. Thanks for sending that. I enjoy reading them, and they look personalized, like they're from you and that you created them. So they're pretty slick.
I love that. In IQ Office, you have the newsletter, you have the market report, you have eight different holiday emails as well. So it's 32 touches right there without making a phone call a quarter, without texting them, without talking about their kids' girls volleyball or boys lacrosse game. I mean, those are easy ones. Thank you very much, Keenan. All right. There we go. Door knocking. Yay! I know all you were hoping that I would get to door knocking on today's call. This is one of those best things you can do for your business especially if you're new in an area or you're a newer real estate agent. And getting over the fear of door knocking is probably the biggest key for everybody. When I was still doing sales in Grand Junction, I even had the reluctance to go, but I would get 2 or 3 people to go with me. And when I'm walking down the street and I see Tammy across the street, 2 things happen. One, Tammy doesn't feel real nervous about, meeting some creep. And I have to knock on the next door because if I don't, she's going to look at me and go, hey, come on, let's go. So you get that peer pressure to help you knock on doors. If you don't have those worries, you will have, I mean, you can have an incredible career. Now, some of your resort markets are going to have some challenges in the areas where you have condominiums and gated communities. But down valley from all of you, there are door knocking opportunities. And there's different ways to knock on a door. You don't knock on the door and be at the peephole and freak them out. You're supposed to knock on the door, take 2.5 steps back, turn 45 degrees so you don't look like you're trying to charge the door and get in their house. That's just one of the basics of door knocking. What are some reasons we're going to be knocking on a door in a neighborhood to get listings?
An open house is a good reason to go door knocking. That'd be number one on my list.
No doubt. How long was that silence? How uncomfortable was that? It was 4.5 seconds. Americans have to fill in the space in silence. Let silence do the heavy work for you. Okay, so door knocking for an open house. Door knocking at just listed. Door knocking at just sold.
If I might, door knocking just to door knock.
Yeah. Being who is that? I don't see who that is speaking.
Here's my little tip, because I did it one time when I had a listing in a neighborhood, and because of the drive pattern, a whole bunch of people in that neighborhood never would have known that this house was for sale. Mm-hmm. So I took my brochures around and I door knocked, and the icebreaker was to say something complimentary about their house. So you're knocking on the door and you're waiting for somebody to answer. While you do, you find something that's attractive about the house. Maybe they got a little statue. Maybe they've done decorations for something. Or maybe their garden is really beautiful. And you say, hi, I'm, so-and-so. And I was just admiring. And then you mention that. And all of a sudden they go, oh, thank you. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, the reason I'm here is because, and then you go into your little 60-second thing and you hand them something. So that was the one for my situation. But as I'm sitting here, by the way, I'm folding my mailers. And for right now, everybody has probably a year-over-year market piece that you can summarize onto one page, and you can just leave that as a conversation starter or a leave behind. So those are my 2 cents.
Awesome, thank you. That's great time. The timeliness of what you just said is incredible as well. I mean, if you didn't hear, Steve Harney said, but the guys that are doing listings in the first quarter of this year are the ones that are going to crush it. Well, we're already half of a month through the first quarter. You got to really do the time sensitive things that you're going to do, like those mailers now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would. I'm lucky I get to work in the same office as Pam, who just spoke. So, if you're farming a neighborhood or two, you're sending things in the mail. Well, it's time to put a face to that, and a voice and a handshake with that market report about that neighborhood or whatever. But you hand deliver that, and if they don't answer, you leave it at the door, and then that's a personal touch that I think is very different than the postcards or the letters that you've been sending on a monthly basis. So now is a really good time, as Keith is saying, to do the door knocking, even though it's cold out. They'll respect you more actually for doing it in the cold.
Visiting your resort folks, yeah, that's a challenge, and I agree with Derek. I mean, they're going to be saying, wow, this person's actually, willing to do the work. So, okay. The door knocking is also great when, there's a neighborhood event going on. I know people that sponsor a spring and a fall garage sale for a neighborhood, and door knocking and inviting people to participate, and you do the signage, you do the marketing for them, and you get to talk to all of them. That's another great idea. Okay, anybody else on door knocking?
One thing we've had success with is trying to find a property for a buyer. You got a buyer, you know where they want to live, but haven't found the listing. Good way to maybe find the buyer property, but good way to get listings as well.
That's awesome. I'm not driving this today, so I don't get to see who's speaking. So who is this?
That was Bobby Wasbeck. Yeah.
Very nice. Great job. I love that one. With constriction of inventory, that looks terrific. And when we get to open houses, we'll talk a little bit about that script that we can of how we can work that one. The next one I have up here is, oh, there it is. If you're in a geographic farm, you want to prove to them that you are the neighborhood expert. And by knocking on the doors, talking to them about what's going on in the market, maybe leaving a market report behind for their neighborhood, you become the neighborhood expert. They're going to think of you next time they're looking to buy, sell, or refer. For sell by owners, 92% of the people that sold a home in the United States last year used us. For sell by owners are not nearly as prevalent as they were in 1992. Only 67% of people use a real estate agent. So we are becoming a very valuable resource for them. However, they do still exist out there. So talk to me about some ideas. Who's had some success with for sell by owners? Ma'am, you haven't? No.
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 I got it. Maybe it's my market area, but they're the smartest person on the planet, and there's no talking to them. So I've had no luck.
Well, that's a good segue. We had a new agent that moved into the Grand Junction office that had done a for sale by owner on the Front Range, and in one of the classes, he was saying, "Don't make us feel like idiots. You come in, you're not going to be able to sell your home. We're going to get more money." Yeah, he said you definitely avoid that hard sell that we've been trained since the Mike Ferry days to go in there and you become from a place of caring and giving and be a resource for them. Don't promise them a buyer if you don't have one.
Yeah, just going off that, like what Keith said, show them something of value. So don't say, hey, I have a buyer, let me come check it out, see if it will work for them. They see right past that. One thing that's kind of a cool approach would be, hey, I will take professional photos. I'll get this listed. Give me a 1-month listing agreement. If it doesn't sell, great. You now have great new listing photos, professional photos that you can use yourself on Zillow or whatever websites you want. And also, if you end up bringing the buyer yourself and finding the buyer, then you don't have to pay me a commission. But just getting the opportunity to even try to list the house and showing value that, hey, here's professional photos for you, and here's all this marketing that I'm going to do, that if it doesn't work out in a month or two, you're right back in the same position that you're at.
I had worked through some stuff with one of my Tom Ferry clients, and it was write down a list of the 6 things that you do that are hard to do, that cost money, and turn it into a tips list for sell by owners. So you get, here's the sort of thing that might help you sell your home, Mr. and Ms. Sell by owner. You hand it to them, and professional photos, $375 to $800, depending on what market you're in. We're going to do flyers to the whole neighborhood. Let them know that it's just listed. We're going to put it all over the place in the internet. We're going to do Facebook ads, and they're going to look at all those and go, I can't do any of this crap. It'll take forever. So, being a resource, thank you, Keenan, that is huge. I don't remember who I was talking to the other day, but Columbo, Brian Buffini does the Columbo. He get in the door, compliment them on their house, kind of like Pam said. Say, if you don't have a buyer, you can always say, well, I work with a lot of buyers and I pride myself on knowing everything that's on the market. Would you be willing to pay a co-op fee if I brought the buyer to your house? If they say yes, you're halfway to the commission that they don't want to pay right at that point. Then well, do you have a buyer from our house? Well, I don't know. I haven't seen your house. Get in the door. And so once you get in the door, as you're leaving, and I know you young guys don't know who Columbo was. He's a grumpy old detective. And he would, he'd act kind of dumb when he's interviewing the suspects in this detective show. And as he's leaving, he'd stop and he'd turn back around and go, oh, and one more thing. If you're going to be co-opting with a broker, by law, they have to use a contract from the state of fill in the blank. And then would you be interested in looking over a copy of that before you get an offer? Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, I'll bring one by. Would tomorrow at 3 or this afternoon at 5 be better? When you go back, you hand them that, the contract. You can't give them advice on it, right? Make sure they know that you can't give them advice. Just tell them to look it over. And then as you're leaving, oh, one more thing. Lead-based paint disclosure, seller's property disclosure, give them so much stuff to scare the crap out of them. You give them the list of all the things that you're going to do to market their property, and all of a sudden they see, holy cow, maybe I do want this guy. Who else has had some success?
I have.
Steven Schiff, I know that voice anywhere.
Okay, I mean, there's two aspects. There's two aspects with for sale by owner. There's the person, your buyer who finds, or you find a for sale by owner, and you just approach them and say, "Hey, I do have someone who'd like to look at your house." And then there's, you're trying to get that listing too. So I've done both sides. And I've never had a problem with it. I mean, getting the listing is kind of tough, right? Because you're dealing with someone who wants to sell their house but doesn't want to deal with a real estate agent. They've made that abundantly clear in many ways. So, I mean, yeah, it's worked for me many times.
Very nice. Anybody else?
I tell you one thing. I've had like all the new agents. They've had situations where they say, "What do I do?" They want to see a for sale by owner, and they're all freaking out because they want to get paid, right? We want a commission for our work because we work pretty damn hard, right? And 16 years of doing this, I have tried every single different way of doing it, right? To get paid for selling someone's house. And I have found the best way is not even to discuss my commission until we're a little down the aisle. Yeah. And then I'll ask them. And I'll tell my buyers the same thing. I'll say, "Hey, listen, I'm going to try to get the seller to pay my commission, but you got to understand that as much as I love you guys and I wish I could work for free all day long, I'm going to ask them to pay a commission. Are you guys willing to pay me a commission if they don't?" And they always say yes. I've never had someone say no. But I've always had a seller pay me commission. Never, ever did they ever say no. Never.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, moving on. Here's a place to get sources. GTS, who knows what that stands for? Google that stuff, other than it's not stuff. So there are places you can pay to get for sale by owner leads and driving a different way home from work every day. When you're going to a listing, when you see a sign, pull over and call them, or there are places that you can sign up and pay to get for sale by owner and expired leads. So if you want to spend money, I'm the king of free. I try to do, give you guys options that are free. This is most of these are paid sources, and Google it and do some research. Facebook advertising for all kinds of things. But for listings, you can, spend $50 to $2,000 per month. It's a pretty steep learning curve unless you take some classes. If you're going to do it by the trial and error method, it's going to be a pretty steep learning curve. You can do it in an hour a day. They tend to show results within 1 to 3 months. And you're looking to get in front of the sellers. If any of you are working CBX seller leads, this is a great, I mean, that's the same kind of idea. You're getting them before they're ready to sell instead of after, you know, going through the pain of being on the market and expiring, and they hate real estate agents. So Facebook advertising for leads or for listing leads in neighborhoods you want to work, a demographic you want to work, a psychographic, you know what that is? Common interest, golf community, near the riverfront or on the mountain. You know, those are different psychographic, skiing on the mountain. Those are, you know, things that people like to do rather than a geographic location where they are. So is anybody doing Facebook ads for listing leads? No? Well, there are different ways to do it. You can, we'll talk about home valuation pages in a second. You can pay to boost your, or do an ad with your landing page. You know, here's my market analysis. You could just do a video about how, and I could, you know, see several of you that do videos. Hey, we're short on inventory. We're down from the high this time of year of so-and-so from this year. We've got buyers. Things are going under contract even faster right now than expected. I mean, every market I've gone into, people are surprised at how busy they've been, you know, during the December and January. And, you know, I'm not going to bore you with this, but I think it's because of the election. We had 3 months of pent up energy waiting for the election to be over, and people are still, you know, riding the post-election wave of euphoria of not having those crappy ads all over the radio and the TV.
Keith, you're boring us. Come on.
I'm good at that. Thank you. But Kingston Lane, who's been working on Kingston Lane?
Come on, Pam. Tell us what you got.
Really good. Cool. You can.
I don't know if you can put your hand up anywhere, but we have.
And tell us your results. What's going on with that?
It's about 100 times better than any social media advertising I've done before that.
Yep.
Awesome.
I can tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 10 times easier.
Very nice.
I still don't, you know, I think it's a little bit of a mystery still. You know, what are they actually doing? How are they getting those kind of results, and how good are the leads? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But we're getting, I mean, way more leads than we would get on our own. Haven't converted any yet, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't have like a conversion ratio or anything like that, or ROI or whatever. But so far, we're.
How many have you done, Robert?
What, 5 or 6?
No, I think maybe 4 now.
Maybe 4. We've probably
We're
gotten.
to launch 2 more.
Yeah, we're about to do 2 more. I think we're like, what did we say? 50
leads or
50
so.
cents a lead or something?
50 cents a lead. Yeah.
About 50 cents a lead so far.
Sorry. 50 cents a lead is huge. And in your market, average sales price is, well, in town is north of $650, right?
Yeah.
That, I mean, wow. How much could you pay for if you do one deal? Val Myers in Macho's talk today, she did the listing ad. She spent $50 on 2 of them. She got 48 leads, email addresses. And she's gotten replies from several of them already.
Pam, what's your story?
My story isn't quite as stellar, but it's encouraging. And so try to help me out, Derek, what the ad was. It was, what's the value of your home, I guess? And I got 15 responses over 5 days. And I did it over the holidays, not knowing if the holidays was a good time to do this or a bad time. So I just gave it a shot. And out of it came 15 leads. Most of them are partial. Nothing's come of it, but there was enough information that I can do a workaround and find out what the property was and their mailing address, and then they're now on the farm list. So even if I don't have their email, and some of them, they gave me an email and I could follow up, but others didn't, and I can still send them a letter. So they're going to get this mailing that I'm doing right now. And I'm going to start doing it every month and just keep building the database now. And maybe I'll do it twice a month. I haven't decided yet, but I mean, I was encouraged enough to want to do it again.
Awesome. I'm only hearing good things. If you go on to your Kingston Lane account, they have, like, this is the tutorial on how to do the push button social media ads. They also do, we'll talk about that, that tactic that Pam used here in a few minutes as well.
I want to piggyback on what Robert said, is like, I'm not even sure what they're doing. And that's part of, I'll be honest with you, that's part of the beauty of it, is like, you just do a little bit of front end work and they have the stuff figured out to get the type of results that you're hoping to get when you do your own Facebook thing, which I don't think people are getting much results. At least I'm not hearing a ton of results from a boost or whatever, actual email addresses or addresses that you can then work on. So if you haven't tried Kingston Lane, put it on your short list, because you don't have to spend a bunch, and you can see whether it's going to be something you want to use. But as these illustrations are showing, you probably should have a plan too, right? Because you're going to get more activity than you're used to. What are you going to do with 20 responses? And if you're not ready for that, don't do it, because there's nothing worse than getting this done and then you get a bunch of people and then they don't hear from you. Then you're just another realtor. So
that's right. That's why we've only done 4. I've told my team that they can't do it anymore until we have like the full on follow-up plan in place.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I think Facebook is really good for marketing your listings and for driving traffic for open houses. I'm not sure it's good for generating leads on our own, which is why I think Kingston Lane does a better job of it.
Yeah, they've got it figured out. They've dialed in on the analytics, and because of the size, Facebook likes people that keep people on Facebook.
Yeah.
So when they get clicked on, they get more leverage with Facebook. So because they're doing this on a large scale, that is also one of the reasons why they're doing so well, is because Facebook's pushing them to the top of everybody's feed because it's a good ad for them. All right, geographic farming. Who has a geographic farm? Yes. Okay, I can just hear a bunch of heads nodding. Geographic farming has made a huge comeback in the last year or two. One of the challenges is it's going to cost you about $1 per door to do it right. You get a nice glossy, 5.5 by 8.5 postcard, and you got to come up with a message on it. Some, like Land Title in Colorado, will co-op that with you and take some of that price off. They'll have to come up with things to send out as well. But when you do a geographic farm, you need to count on 12 to 18 touches before you get a response. So if you don't have the money to do, 8 to 12 touches before you start, that may not be the right option for you. Now, with this in mind, you can do 12 touches in 12 weeks. It doesn't have to be a monthly. There's one person I saw spoke that did 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 per month, and within 6 months they were getting a lot of traffic. So this one, this is one of those areas that you've got to make a decision on how much money you want to spend. Anybody have a horror story about a geographic farm? Okay. During the recession, these didn't work that well. A lot of people were gun shy, spent a lot of money and didn't get any money back. It's worth taking a look at now. You want a neighborhood that has a turnover ratio of about 8%. So 8 houses sell in a neighborhood of 100 per year. You don't want to go into a neighborhood that's going to have a lot of really stiff competition, because if you have that one dominant agent that may live in that neighborhood, you're not going to get the traction. An attractive price range, like maybe this, the second price range, not the entry level, but the next price range would be a good one, and hopefully capture the guys who move up buyers. If you get those listings though, there's another buyer source for you. They're a move up buyer.
Keith, I think you could make an argument also about areas that don't have a lot of activity and haven't had a lot of activity, because maybe it's ready to have activity.
That's a great point.
An area with activity means there's a lot of agents doing exactly what you're trying to do. So is there a neighborhood that no one's talking about, that no one's moving from? And if you have been watching fan clubs, you saw a slide that says the average tenure for homes has gone way up. It's about 9 years right now, where it used to be 6 or 7. Why'd it go up? Because people are freaked out about the recession, whatever. The last one, they're like, we're not gonna screw up. But what we're gonna have and what we're gonna see is a lot of people who have that itch and they're ready to go. And it might be you, the agent, finding that neighborhood where it hasn't happened and being the catalyst to get people to realize they have the equity. It's time for them to move up. And so I agree, high demand area, but maybe an area that isn't active right now could be the place for you to make some noise.
I've seen some people have really good success going to a subdivision that was built between 4 and 8 years ago, because they're hitting that 5-6 year, I want to move stat that you just talked about, Derek. So all those guys all moved into the area at the same time. Maybe it was an entry level and they have kids and they need to buy up or downsize. So thank you very much for that. Home valuation landing pages. There we go. There is one on your IQ office that you can utilize, and it's free. And you can also use the, why is this not? I'm frozen, guys, sorry. We'll get to Kingston Lane is also one that you can use. They have a free landing page as well. I'm going to stop sharing here for a second and see if that will do it.
Jimmy!
All right. So, are you guys seeing the home valuation page from Kingston Lane right now?
No, unfortunately, you stopped sharing, so we're seeing Alan and Jim and a bunch of faces. Can you go back to the home valuation page, please, quickly?
I'm trying.
Hi, Alan.
All right.
There we go.
So there is the Kingston Lane version of the home valuation. That's the support page where you learn how to do the whole process as well. This one is another one that I've heard a lot of good success on. I think this is what Pam was talking about that she did. That's a really qualified lead when you get somebody looking for the value of their home. And if they're not ready to sell right now, you giving them that information and then staying in contact with them over the next few months, years on the value of property in the neighborhood. You become the neighborhood expert. They're going to tell friends. Going back to sphere of influence of past clients, these guys almost become like a past client, and they're going to know 3 to 5 people that are going to sell a house each year. And you want them to think of you first. Oh my goodness. I don't know why this thing isn't forwarding. The next slide that you guys aren't seeing is, oh, come on. Technology. All right, somebody talk to me about takeaways. What did you guys like during the presentation that you think you might go out there and use?
Kingston Lane for show.
Yeah, I think that's a no-brainer right now. Especially the free stuff on there is great. The money, I think that we're going to be able to see, the some of the social media stuff. You do that and you have success, share it. Let us know about it. What else?
I got to start partnering and co-marketing with partners, lender partners and title partners and stuff.
Okay, how are you going to use those guys?
I don't know. I need to go sit down with them and see what they're willing to do, and open to any suggestions if anybody's doing that successfully.
So are you looking to co-op the costs of your marketing with those guys?
Yep.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I've never done it.
Yeah.
I split realtor.com fees with a lender and just say that, hey, any leads that don't have a lender, I'll shoot over to you. You can do that any real online lead site. So I know they're pretty expensive, but that's a good way to save some costs there.
Nice.
If you're using the realtor.com, they'll provide that service for you. So that if you find ABC lender, they'll automatically get any lead that you're getting. They'll send that to your sponsor, your co-op advertising, Robert. So,
right.
Depending upon where you are doing your online leads, that's basically what you want. You want to share some of that cost of what those leads are coming to you. And if you can show, I would just take your book of lists right off of your clients and going, this is your client activity for the last couple of months. This is the number of leads I would expect to be able to provide you. What's that worth to you? And let them come up with the numbers. So that's the way Realtor.com's explained it to me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Who else is a strong listing agent that's got an idea that I didn't cover? Alan Brown, I know you got something up your sleeve.
No, most of mine all come from repeat business and sphere of influence. So I'm not out there farming per se.
Well, that may be true, Alan, but what are you doing? Keith led with here's how many touches all these people say.
So I've been in and out on this co-op and with other things, but there was one thing I was going to mention near the start. I've kind of mentioned this on other calls before, but I keep in touch with my sphere of influence every Sunday morning. I send out, the list of all the sold properties for the last week in the MLS and the under contract properties by email. And
2 touches to start with.
Yeah, so I do that every Sunday morning. I get up, I get my coffee, I go to my desk, and I send it out. So 6:45 every Sunday. And there are people who religiously watch for that report every week. If I don't send it on time, they're asking me, where's your report? And, I run into people at social functions, and they're like, oh, I love getting that. I get emails from people throughout the year, not that many, but some, where they hear about it from somebody who's getting it. And they're like, I hear you send out a report. Can you add me to your Sunday report? Here's my name and email address. And I don't even know who these people are, but they're asking to be on my list. So, it's great. So, that's just one way of me keeping in touch with my sphere. I have other ways to do, like campaigns, like Keenan was saying, but that is one way. And I've been doing that now for about 7 years. And believe me, it's just a good way of, keeping in touch with your sphere of influence and people in your database.
Awesome. So you had something to share. I knew it.
Yeah, I know. I don't have a magic wand, though.
The magic wand is hard work.
Right.
So, Alan, is that all sectors, all towns?
I just do. So, we here in the Montrose office, we cover 3 counties: Delta County, Montrose County, and Uray County. I'm just doing it for the Montrose area. I don't do it for the Delta County or the Uray County one. You could. I'm doing it for the Montrose area, the city, and the county. So,
Single family homes only, commercial businesses.
I just send out single family homes. I'm not.
Okay.
Well, actually, take that back. I'm sending everything that's sold in the last 7 days. Everything that gets posted sold on the MLS. I have a the spreadsheet goes out, and you can click on the listing number, and it'll bring up the details, like the picture of the house or the lot that sold, what it sold for, how many days it was on the market, stuff like that. So it's everything. It's, you know, everything that's sold in the last 7 days, lots, commercial, single family, you name it.
Cool. All right. Good stuff.
Yep. And I have about 250 people that get that email every Sunday. So now, I'm sure there are people out there that just delete it, or like, oh, I don't want to read it, and they just delete it. But I do know there's a lot of people that like getting it. So.
Well, even if they're deleting it, but they're not unsubscribing, they're going to read it sometime.
Yeah. Well, they go, oh, there's another email from that Alan Brown. Well, as long as they mention my name under their breath, they know that I sent them something.
But so, I've always thought the nice thing about that is it's pure information. Because, and he said this too, how are you adding value to you as an agent? And you're not asking for business every week. You're saying, hey, look at this information I'm giving you. And it's just beautiful. It's like a flower in the mail every week.
And I don't even think I've had anybody email me and say, hey, unsubscribe me from that list.
I'm going to. I'm tired of it.
I have other realtors on that list, by the way, who don't even work in this office. Seriously, I do. I mean, so they're getting it. But it takes me about 15 minutes on a Sunday morning. Hey, you know, what else would I be doing at Sunday morning at 6:45 anyway? You know, looking at my Facebook page, I may as well spend the 15 minutes to send that list to somebody in my entire database.
So one thing we didn't really spend a lot of time on is how do we leverage buyers that can't find a house? I mean, we can talk about door knocking and saying, hey, you know, we have a buyer that's looking to buy a home in this neighborhood. Do you know anyone thinking of selling? What else can you do if you have a number of buyers that are not able to locate what they're looking for?
Find them an expired.
Yes, thank you. What else?
Send a postcard to the neighborhood they want to live in.
Yeah. That would be the first thing I think would be the logical thing to do is to, if you can target exactly what market they want to be in and the neighborhood that they want, just, you know, it's chump change. You can send out a postcard to 100 people, you know, going, if you're interested in selling your house, you know, we could sell, I've got somebody looking to buy it and if you'll participate in 50% of what the normal commission is, I can make you some money and save you some money and do the whole deal.
So I'll use that same database I'm sending that Sunday report to. Sometimes if I can't find a property with somebody, I'll email to my entire database. Hey, I have a buyer that's looking for a house up to whatever, $300,000. They're ready to buy in the next 30 days. If you guys know of anybody who's looking to sell, yeah. So I just send it to my database and ask them if they can find me somebody.
We have a couple agents that do it on their Facebook page at a high level. So, yeah, just put it out there. Ask. You know, if you don't even have a targeted neighborhood, right? We just need a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot with a double 2-car garage, and RV parking. Where can anybody know anybody? So, all right. What else you guys want to chat about? Listings.
You have 3 minutes.
Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, inventory is projected to go up this year. So we can stop talking about a low, depressed inventory, which has been all that we've talked about for the last year. And so it's going to be important that we have our hand in that cookie jar with a lot of listings, with a lot of Coldwell Banker signs on it. So, and one thing we haven't mentioned, but I hope you get, is that when you have a sign in front of the house, I mean, that's almost the best marketing you can do. And really that action is free, is to have the sign with your name in front of a house in a good neighborhood to boot. You're doing a lot of marketing and self-promotion just by having a listing with a sign in front of it. So let's make sure that we're all doing that and do it early. Another thing that wasn't brought up is that everybody thinks, hey, wait till May, wait till June. Talk to your people that are on the fence and let them know now is the time, because it's real buyers right now. It's a smaller pool. You're likely to get more attention, all of that good stuff. The rules of summer listings are over. People buy online now 24/7, 365. And so don't let your potential sellers cow you and say, let's wait till May. It's a much harder job there.
Here in Sun Valley, we've got, it starts generally about March 1st. I've seen it start as early as February 15th, but March 1st through April 15th, we've got, that's our first selling spree of the year. We're converting our renters to buyers that have been here for the winter. We've got people that are doing tax planning and all of that. So that's a good reason to go, hey, this is an active time, lower amount of inventory, and we have 6 weeks that, if you really want to sell your property, this is the first opportunity. So that's just a good pitch if you're doing it between now and middle of February to get it ramped up.
Well, that's what Eric has been telling us down, and Karen down in Telluride. They've got these very tight windows in the resort markets when they sold. And they said that right before about 4 or 5 people said, well, I sold this and I sold this and I put that under contract and I closed this. So I think even in resorts markets, we're seeing those steep curves flatten some. I think it's still a trend for sure. But I still think that the internet allows people to look at houses without trudging through the snow and the wind, and they're prepared to buy.
Yep.
So,
yep.
I've got 2 takeaways that I wanted to share with you guys. Number one, when Keenan was talking about the BombBomb videos, using video to talk to your spheres of influence, and you can give this message to them about, hey, inventory is really low, and I want to help these people buy. Do you know anybody that I can help sell? Then on the other one is from Pam and Robert and Val, who's not on the call, the Kingston Lane success. It's free for a lot of it, guys. You're crazy if you don't try it.
What was that? Crazy if we don't try what?
Kingston Lane.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Anybody have anything to share? Derek, I'll let you take over.
I just want to finish up before Jeremy comes back into Keenan's office and tries to get any last minute knowledge without actually sitting through the thing. So I'll send this recording to everybody but Jeremy. And let's make sure everybody tells them the wrong information. Facebook boosts where it's at, Jeremy. Just keep doing it, brother. Now, Keith, just really appreciate your expertise and everybody that shared things here. All we want to do is have everybody get better, right? Like that's the whole point of a mastermind. That's the whole point of a company with 7 offices in 3 states, is that everybody learns from each other. You've all got your tricks. You've all got your secrets. Great. But if you can pass things on like Alan just did about his Sunday morning ritual, man, we're all going to get better. And that just feels really good for everybody, from the newest agent to the most experienced to Jim Kuhn. So thanks for all of your insights, everybody. Keith, you're awesome. I'll send this recording out, and make sure that you're talking to your coaches about schedule, because it's been weird. And I know there's a couple people on the call that I owe some restructuring to. So you'll hear from me today or tomorrow about your coaching setup. So keep up the good work, everybody. Keith, thanks a ton for running this. And hope everybody has a good second week of the year.
Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers.
Right.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Adios.
Thanks, Derek.
Adios.